up your game to make it to the top, so go. Got a little competition on.
Nature tourism is a controversial topic as it carries a lot of environmental issues that are worth discussion. But in order to understand what we mean by nature tourism and the impact that it can have on a country, it's necessary to know a little bit more about the context of tourism in Australia. Australia's number of tourists has increased significantly through the last few years. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, between June 2016 and June 2017, 8.5 million people visited Australia, which doubles the amount of tourists that visited the country 22 years ago. And how many of the visitors that Australia receives every year can be considered nature tourists? We understand nature-based tourism as all tourism experiences centered on wild or natural environments. This includes visiting national parks or state parks, visiting wildlife parks, zoos or aquariums, botanical or other public gardens, bushwalking or rainforest walks, whale watching, dolphins, snorkeling, scuba diving, those sorts of things. The ABS states that 68% of international tourists that visited Australia in the year ending at June 2016 were involved in some sort of nature-based activity, which isn't surprising considering that Australia has over 500 national parks. Places like Tasmania, the Great Barrier Reef and the Blue Mountains, the 12 Apostles or Uluru are just some of the most popular natural attractions of the country, and millions of people from all around the world come to visit them every year. But another question arises considering the huge amount of tourists that visit the natural environments in Australia. How does this impact the culture, society, politics, and economics of the country? Are the natural ecosystems being damaged by tourists, and how can we avoid that? To be able to answer those questions, it's essential to know the meaning of sustainable tourism. This refers to those visitors who try to make only a positive impact on the environment, society, and economy. This means that they're informed about the culture that they're visiting, they respect it, and its integrity. They also worry about supporting local economies and being environmentally conscious.
Another concept that it is important to understand is ecotourism. It can be defined as the ecologically sustainable tourism with a primary focus on experiencing natural areas that fosters environmental and cultural understanding, appreciation, and conservation. Overall, ecotourism aims to preserve the integrity of the destination according to Ecotourism Australia. This kind of tourism, then, worries about the impact that visitors may have in culture and natural areas of the country. Considering this, we asked ourselves, how can we be good tourists? How can we, as international visitors, preserve the integrity of Australian natural environments? To answer these questions, we decided to get away from the noise and visited Sydney Harbour National Park and some beaches in Cairns. There, we interviewed some Australians and also international visitors to get different perspectives about tourism and the impact tourism can produce in varying ecosystems. Considering this, we ask ourselves, how can we be good tourists? How can we, as international visitors, preserve the integrity of Australian natural environments? To answer these questions, we decided to get away from the noise and visited Sydney Harbour National Park and some beaches in Cairns. There, we interviewed some Australians and also some international visitors to get different perspectives about tourists and the impact tourism can produce in varying ecosystems around Australia.
People want to visit beautiful spots. They're going to heighten awareness to protect it, right? And then the money, if well managed, the tourism brings can be used to protect the environment, right? It's just needs to be reasonably well managed and the impact needs to be controlled. Otherwise,
I live in a city whose main export is art, and so we live and die by tourism.
Because it's a holiday, like in a year, like they got holiday time, they want to spend time to see different things, and different people, different food. It's like spend a holiday.
Ecotourism. I think it's good. I'm very conscious of the environment. We've got to preserve it.
So I actually live in Cape Cod, which is near Boston, and I would say that nature tourism is a very important part of the community, particularly in the summer months. It boosts the local economy, gives everybody around there lots of jobs and whatnot. I think it's important for people to respect nature in other parts of the world than from where they're from. We are here crossing the Daintree River on a ferry in a car, and in a croc-infested waters. And I gotta say, you know, this is definitely a worthy experience. And if people touring Cape Cod and Boston feel the same way that I feel now, then more power to them. Just respect the locals.
Do you think you're protecting it more than hurting it by having people in and out?
It depends. It's all a factor of the intensity, right? Low impact ecotourism, I don't think really has a big impact. And if that brings in money and raises awareness to protect more of it, it's going to be a good thing, right? But if it's uncontrolled mass tourism, then it could be very destructive. I think ecotourism fundamentally is low impact tourism, where the tourists, you know, enjoy or participate in some activity in nature, right? And they see something, they experience it, they live it. But for it to be eco, it needs to be sustainable and non-destructive. I think most people are fundamentally interested in nature, right? We're all attracted to the wild or to nature the way it once was, especially city dwellers, right? You see it on TV, you read about it, we all want to experience it. I think a good tourist is somebody that really cares about where they visit, right? They do their homework, they read up.
Someone who goes out of their way to learn the culture and the policies, ideas, beliefs of the people in the community that they're visiting, and so that they can treat the people respectful and the environment respectful. They don't litter, you know, they take care of the environment that they're visiting.
A good tourist, one that appreciates the country, what they're seeing, and takes care to preserve it.
One who respects the culture in which they are enveloped, as well as spend time to appreciate as well as benefit the area.
Good tourists, you know, like they good in nature, good in behavior. You know, they come here to know all people's language, you know, or culture, you know, religion and all these things. They're very polite, they spend money.
Or probably somebody comes and makes a nuisance of themselves, doesn't have any consideration for those around them, and in particular doesn't care for the environment. So.
Like, you know, not all the tourists are bad, not all the tourists are, but some bad tourists, they, you know, smuggling, you know, drugs and smuggling.
Oh yeah,
smuggling,
yeah.
They involve, you know, like knowingly or unknowingly they
Sure.
involve, and they got in trouble. And they should know all the, like, you know, the international
rules
and regulations based
yeah.
on this country. Like some Muslim country, they're very strict for all drugs and all this thing. So they shouldn't do that.
Litter's rude, obnoxious, treats people as if the locals who are working there should be treats as access if they're entitled to something because they are visiting that location. Treats the locals poorly.
I mean, it's good economically for a country, yes. For nature, not so much. I mean, it allows people to view the natural aspects of the environment and respect them, but there's a lot of destruction that is involved in order to do that. So it's
This is
always got your hand on the button now.
One example of an ecotourism spot in Australia is Uluru. Uluru is a deeply spiritual and sacred place for the Anango people, the traditional custodians of Uluru. They say that the tourists climbing the rock has caused them deep cultural sadness. Tourists are not currently forbidden from climbing, but they are respectfully asked by the Anango people to stay off the site. Despite this, thousands of visitors make the trek each year. Northern Territory Chief Minister Adam Giles is encouraging the Anango people to support the tourist climb. Debate around closing the climb has raged since 1985. Giles, who is also an indigenous man, explains how it is important to keep the opportunity of climbing Uluru, as it is an economic resource and an exceptional tourist experience in the country. Others, as the traditional caretakers of Uluru, says the climbing is disrespectful. It's not just a place with a good view, but it's also a place with cultural significance and spiritual connection to the people of Anango. From their view, that is not something to be messed with for the sake of a political point and increased tourism revenue. Besides from disrespecting the Aboriginals of Uluru, there are also a concern for the environmental impact of climbing Uluru. Erosion, for one, is a significant concern. Each step a climber takes changes the face of Uluru. There are no toilets on top of Uluru and no soil to dig a hole. When it rains, everything gets washed off the rock and into waterholes, polluting the water for the many plants and animals found in the park.
Boxers or briefs?
Briefs, always.